Yes, everybody. Good afternoon, Rush of the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well. Uh, almost said David Moyes. Graham Potter has just finished his press conference ahead of the game against Crystal Palace. Again, do you know what? I love listening to his press conferences. I really do. I think they're really informative. He's honest. He's not. I mean, the only questions he shirks are questions about transfers, and to be honest, it's quite a professional line saying, "Look, they're not our players. We're not going to talk about them." So let's get into it. We covered a whole array of topics, and we'll get through them eventually. So let's start with team news because that's all that's important. If I press the right button, there we go. Team news. It looks like Cree is the one that they're just sort of not worried about, but sort of not being committal on. We're still waiting on him and will make a late decision. Everyone else is pretty much as they were, a few bumps and bruises. But really, he did mention saying it might be a game too quick, too early for Crescencio to come back into the squad. Potentially, I'd imagine if he's going to play, he'll probably be on the bench. Ariola's due to be back on the bench as well, following his minor injury. One player who's injured for a long time is Antonio. He was asked about Antonio, whether he's spoken to him or anything like that. And he goes, I think we're planning to see him today. Spoken to him to the phone, and it'd be nice to see him, which is great to hear. Obviously, we're in the midst of the transfer window. We did the Rusty Room roundup earlier today. Got more rumours to talk about tomorrow. Asked about transfers, and he goes, if we've got anything to report, we'll tell our supporters. But our main focus for now, I can't say focus without saying focus, for now is on the players we have here. You've got to go through checklists when looking at players. It's a complicated window with lots of games in quick succession. My focus has to be, focus again, has to be on that. I'm happy with the squad and the approach to the players. For me, it's been about getting to know them. I know more than I did a few last week, but that process continues. And he was asked, about the Fulham game and general stuff. And, it's his first week. And he goes, it's only been a week, but it feels a lot longer because of the matches. I'm really enjoying it and getting to know everyone better. But we now have to focus on a new match against a new team. And we'll talk about his thoughts on Crystal Palace shortly. Asked about his views on the Fulham game. It was nice to be there for the game. I understand the league and how difficult each game is. So it was great. Obviously, overall, I'm focusing on, I'm going to have to start a new focus monitor, aren't I? On the things we did well. It's early days, but there's also a lot to work to do as well. One person who has been praised recently, I don't know why I deleted that, was Thomas Souček. Asked about Souček and his captaincy, and very much a captain's performance on Tuesday. With Bowen coming back, is it simply going to be, Bowen towards the end of January? Are you going to hand the armband back to Jared, basically? It's regardless of the armband, it's nice to have people who can step up and lead. Thomas and Jared and others have shown all great qualities. Thomas played really well against Fulham, so I'm delighted for him. Another player who came on and had a cameo, and if anyone watched the game, body checked Adama Traore. Fair fucking play was Ollie Scarles. And he was asked about the academy, and great to see, a youngster sort of get some minutes, particularly over the likes of someone like Aaron Cresswell, who could have easily, he could have put on instead as a safer pair of hands, or not necessarily a more experienced pair of hands. And he said, I think I said before that the academy has to be central to what we're doing here. The first thing we have to do is think about is what we're doing internally. Ollie Scarles is one player that has done really well since we've been here, and we want to help him and the other youngsters keep developing. And if you really care about the academy, get down to Rush Green tomorrow, people. 7 p.m. kickoff, under 21s against Sunderland under 21s. You won't see Ollie, I would imagine, because he'll be with the first team squad. You might see Lewis. He might get 60 minutes. But I imagine he'll be in the squad for Saturday as well. But get down there. You've got no excuse if you're a season ticket holder because it's free and there's car parking. So get down there. It's a great laugh. It's really good football. And I implore you to get down there and support the academy. We probably get a few hundred each game, but we could easily get double that, treble that if everyone who says they care about the academy gets down there. Because it is, if you haven't got a season ticket, it's a couple of quid. And you see some really good football, and you'll see some, you'll see there's usually some ex-players milling about watching the games as well. So great opportunity to meet some people. Anyway, off my horse now. Let's talk about Crystal Palace. He says they are in a good place, certainly away from home, and they won last night. They did beat Leicester at home. away rather, that being at home 2-0. They started the season slowly in terms of points, but they have a clear idea of what they're doing and lots of qualities. They have very good players individually and adapting to players leaving, particularly they mentioned like Michael Oise, and they've got real quality, which they have, and they're no mugs at all. But neither were Fulham really, and that was the first time they'd lost in 8. And I think Palace have got some unbeaten run as well at the moment. So there were some good questions. I think it was the Premier League's journo there. Asked some really good questions. She asked about Lucas Paqueta as well, saying Lucas is obviously seems to be reinvigorated. And where do you see him in a position sense? Will you be adapting him as and when, or is there a position that you want him to play? And he goes, he's the type of player who needs to feel how important he is. He is important to us, and how he acts is really important for the team. He's been fantastic since I've been here and really worked for the team. And he's got his reward with the goals, 2 and 2. I don't think you have to pin him down to one position because of his quality. I don't think you can pin Lucas Paqueta down. When he's on one, when he's on a good one, you let him play. And as long as it's not disrupting the flow of the team, let him play. Just let him play. She also asked a question about the Fulham goals, and some people said they were quite fortunate, but actually they came from high pressing and the intensity of pressing. And she asked about the importance of that in his style of football. And he goes, there are rarely gifts in the Premier League, and I think the goals on Tuesday were a result of our pressure. If you look at the response of the fans, that's important. That's a really good point. The fans really got behind the high press when they did it. So you can't do it all the time because of the pace of the Premier League, but we need to engage them, and part of that is pressing high when we can. The Moose asked a couple of questions. One about the distraction of the transfer window. Players worrying about whether they're being transferred, whether someone's going to come in to replace them, that type of thing. And is it a distraction for him? He says, I would say it's disruptive. The players are human beings, so they're thinking about their families and everything, which is normal. We're not the only ones who are affected by it. It is what it is. So we have to just focus on what we can control. And then there was a question about injuries. We've had a few long-term injuries. Obviously, Antonio, with the car crash, Bowen's fractured foot, Nicholas Folcrew, Crescencio Somerville, and talking about sort of the complexity of getting these guys back on the grass. And he goes, it's often complex. You can do things about injuries, but sometimes it's how you train. Sometimes it's luck. It's not something that's the same everywhere. And there's not a simple answer. We have to focus on how we prepare and train and recover. Nicholas has had a bit of a stop-start season. Our challenge and job now is to help him recover now and to come back stronger. And then that was it for the Graham Potter press conference. Nice one as well. I like Graham Potter's press conferences. He's very media friendly. He gives you enough so you feel like he's answered the question, but not enough that he's divulged anything. I'd love to be a fly on the wall with the broadcast section, the embargo sections, because I'm sure there'll be a lot more interesting stuff coming through there. But anyway, Hammer's headlines later on. We're going to talk about this morning. We spoke about players coming in. Hammer's headlines are going to talk about players leaving. So sort of bookended it. If you give it a like, comment, share, all very good and much appreciated, one and all. As always, if you're new around here, don't forget to like, comment, share. All helps us, all helps the channel. There's a high percentage of you who, I think it's something like 42% of you, 42.4% in the last month have watched our channel and not subscribed. Look down there. See if there's a red button. If the button's red, you're not subscribed. Click it, and it goes grey. And next to it is a little bell. We can kick that, and also there's a little like button. Hit that as well. Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith. Come on, you bloody irons.